Ever wonder how a small farmer can get into the hay game without breaking the bank? Today's mini round balers under $7,500 are keeping the American dream alive for hobby farmers and small operations everywhere. From the workshops that brought you the first automatic baler to today's compact powerhouses, these machines prove you don't need deep pockets to make quality hay. Let's dive into the best budget balers that'll have you rolling your own in no time. 10. The Kino Tractors RXYK0850 Mini Round Baler, $5,290.
Remember when making hay meant backbreaking labor with pitchforks and loose stacks? The Kino tractors. Mini Round Baler brings that same independent spirit to modern small farms at just $5,290 base price. This workhorse operates on any 18 to 50 horsepower tractor, making it perfect for those Kubota BX or John Deere compact tractors sitting in barns across America. What makes this unit special isn't just the price tag. It's the simplicity that echoes back to when American farmers first started mechanizing hay production in the early 1900s. The RXYK0850 produces bales that are manageable by hand, typically around 40 to 55 pounds, just like those early Alice Chalmers roto balers from 1947 that pioneered the small, round bale concept. Back then, the idea was revolutionary. Let gravity and rotation do the work instead of muscle power. The optional gathering wheels at $600 extra might seem like a luxury, but they ensure a cleaner windrow pickup, much like the innovations that came from Pennsylvania Dutch farmers who were always tweaking their equipment for better efficiency. One Texas customer recently reported making 800 bales in a single season with this unit that's a return on investment that would make any Depression-era farmer proud. The machine connects to your tractor's 3-point hitch and PTO, no hydraulics required, keeping things simple like machinery used to be before everything got complicated. 9. Farm Max FMRB 330 Twine Wrap. Model $6,637. The Farm Max FMRB 330 represents what happens when European engineering meets American farming practicality. Priced at $6,637, this mini baler brings commercial-grade durability to the small farm market. It's built tough enough for daily agricultural use while producing 35 to 60-pound bales that won't throw out your back. This model harkens back to the golden age of American haymaking in the 1960s and 70s, when farmers started realizing that bigger wasn't always better, just like Gary Vermeer discovered in 1971 when he invented the large round baler in Pella, Iowa, after a local cattle producer complained about the labor-intensive nature of haymaking. Vermeer's innovation came from chalking out designs on the factory floor and having a prototype ready in just 45 days. The Farm Max carries that same innovative spirit, but scales it down for the small operator. Operating with tractors from 15 to 60 horsepower, this baler includes a $600 value spare parts kit that keeps you running through the season. The plug-and-play design with just a 12V connection reminds us of the simplicity that New Holland achieved when they introduced the Model 73 in 1940, which became the foundation for over 20,000 units sold in 7 years. Farmers from Virginia to Texas are reporting that their neighbors all want one after seeing these units in action, creating the same kind of grassroots buzz that made New Holland a household name. Before we move on to the next one in the list, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. Thanks to all of you who do. 8. The River SRB870 Mini Round Baler under $7,000. River's SRB870 brings southern ingenuity to the mini baler market with a self-contained hydraulic pump system that only needs a 12V connection to your tractor's battery. While exact pricing varies by dealer, these units typically run well under $7,000, making them accessible to small farmers who remember when a good used pickup cost about the same. The genius of this design echoes the innovation of Edwin Nolt, a Pennsylvania farmer who, in 1936, built his own automatic tie pickup baler after being sold a lemon from Iowa. Nolt's determination to solve his own problems led to the foundation of New Holland's baler empire. The SRB870 follows that same farmer-first philosophy with its auto-twine binding system that alerts the operator when it's time to dump the bale with just a push of a button. What sets this unit apart is its availability with either twine or net wrap configurations. The net wrap option provides better weather resistance and reduces loss from heavy handling, addressing the same concerns that farmers faced in the 1950s when they transitioned from loose hay to baled hay. The self-contained hydraulic system means no messy hydraulic connections to your tractor, keeping things clean and simple like the horse-powered balers of the 1800s, but with modern convenience. North Carolina farmers particularly appreciate these units for their ability to handle everything from coastal hay to Piedmont grasses. 7. IHI Star MRB0855 Japanese Mini Round Baler. $6,200, $6,800. The IHI Star MRB0855, imported from Japan and available through dealers like Small Farm Innovations for $6,200 to $6,800, represents the same quality revolution that transformed American agriculture when Honda generators and Kubota tractors first arrived on our shores. This compact powerhouse produces 70 centimeters wide by 50 centimeters diameter bales, perfect 40 to 55 pound packages that won't break your back or your budget. IAI Corporation's agricultural division has been building balers since the 1960s, paralleling Japan's post-war industrial miracle. The MRB 0855 embodies the Japanese philosophy of continuous improvement, or Kaizen, that American manufacturers like Ford adopted in the 1980s to stay competitive. Operating with tractors as small as 15 horsepower, this baler brings commercial-grade engineering to the hobby farm market without the complexity that plagues modern American equipment. What makes the MRB 0855 special is its self-contained hydraulic system requiring only a 12V connection, no messy hydraulic hoses, no compatibility issues. The light body design allows work on soft fields where heavier American balers would sink, addressing the same challenges that early farmers faced in river bottom lands. Japanese engineering means every component is overbuilt yet elegantly simple, from the steel compression rollers that ensure tight, stable bales to the wide pickup that handles windrows efficiently, even in corners. The success of imports like the MRB 0855 mirrors the transformation of American farming in the 1970s when fuel efficiency suddenly mattered. These balers consume less fuel per bale than any American-made equivalent, crucial when diesel hits $4 a gallon. Farmers report the machine's quiet operation so quiet you can actually hear if something's wrong, unlike the gear-grinding symphony of older equipment. With Small Farm Innovations offering package deals including drum mowers and tedders, you can outfit your entire hay operation for less than the price of a good used pickup truck. It's the kind of value proposition that built rural America, just arriving from across the Pacific instead of Detroit. 6. Ibex TX31. Basic twine model starting at $7,999. While the Ibex TX31 starts at $7,999, slightly above our threshold, this Texas-tested baler earns its place on our list through financing options that bring monthly payments down to just $95. It's the modern equivalent of the dealer financing programs that helped American farmers mechanize after World War II. When companies like International Harvester and John Deere realized that affordable payments meant more sales. The TX31's design philosophy goes back to basics, much like the Ann Arbor Company's first successful pickup balers from 1929. Those machines proved that good engineering didn't need to be complicated. The Ibex features easy access doors with simple latches instead of troublesome knobs that can get lost in the field, and a heavy-duty stand with a large caster wheel that makes moving it around the barn effortless. These might seem like small details, but they're the kind of practical improvements that American farmers have always valued. Operating at up to 90 bales per hour with compact tractors as small as 18 horsepower, the TX31 brings production capability that rivals much larger machines. It's built for the farmer who remembers their grandfather talking about the day the first automatic baler showed up in the county, changing everything. The machine ships with the wheels removed for economical freight, but assembly is straightforward with the included quick start guide, a far cry from the days when a new baler might require a factory technician to travel out for setup. The financing through AgDirect makes this unit accessible at 7.45% APR over 7 years, bringing quality within reach, just like the Farm Credit System has done since 1916. The TX31 comes with one roll of hemp fiber twine, a return to natural materials that predates the synthetic revolution. Hemp twine was the standard before World War II when nylon and plastics took over. Now it's making a comeback among farmers who appreciate its biodegradability and strength. The optional push-button tailgate at $300 extra eliminates the rope pull system, particularly valuable for older farmers or those with mobility issues. This kind of thoughtful engineering shows that Ibex understands their customers aren't all 20-somethings anymore, addressing the reality that the average American farmer is now 58 years old. 5. John Deere 24T Square Baler, $2,500, $5,500 used. The John Deere 24T represents the gold standard of American small square balers, available on the used market from $2,500 for well-worn units to $5,500 for reconditioned models. Built from the 1960s through the 1980s, these green machines are the Ford F-150S of the baler world everywhere. Reliable and fixable by anyone with basic mechanical skills. Deere's engineering philosophy with the 24T was simple: build it heavy, make it last. The plunger runs at 90 strokes per minute, the same rhythm that has pounded out millions of bales across American farmland. Unlike modern balers with their computer controls and sensors, the 24T uses mechanical timing that you can see, hear, and adjust with hand tools. When something breaks, and after 40 years, something will parts are available at every farm store from Maine to California. These balers earned their reputation during the 1970s farm crisis when farmers couldn't afford new equipment. The 24T kept working through neglect, abuse, and makeshift repairs that would destroy modern machinery. Auction reports from Ohio show these units still commanding $750 to $2,000, even with decades of use, testament to their enduring value. One Pennsylvania farmer recently sold his 24T with over 150,000 bales on the counter. Try getting that from anything built today. The beauty of the 24T lies in its compatibility with almost any tractor over 35 horsepower. The 540 PTO requirement means it'll run behind everything from a Ford 8N to a modern Kubota. The optional Model 2 thrower, if equipped, can launch bales onto wagons with enough force that farmers joke about needing helmets. Estate sales regularly feature these balers that have been sitting in the barn for a while, yet fire up and tie perfect knots after a little oil and adjustment. At farm auctions across the Midwest, you'll see 3 generations of farmers bidding on the same 24T they remember from childhood, knowing it'll serve another generation if treated right. 4. Vermeer 504 F Classic Round Baler, $3,500, $6,500 used. The Vermeer 504F, available on the used market between $3,500 and $6,500, is the smaller cousin of the revolutionary design that changed haymaking forever. These 4x 4-foot balers from the 1980s and 1990s represent Vermeer at its peak after they'd worked out the bugs, but before everything got computerized and expensive. Built in Pella, Iowa, the same factory that survived the 2018 tornado, these balers carry the DNA of American innovation in every weld. The 504F uses a fixed chamber design that's bulletproof in its simplicity. No variable chambers to adjust, no monitors to fail, just steel rollers and chains that turn hay into tight, weatherproof packages. Farmers call them the yellow tank for their distinctive color and indestructible nature. What sets the 504F apart from modern balers is its forgiving nature. Run too fast? It'll handle it. Windrow too wet? It'll power through. Forget to grease it for a month? It'll complain, but keep working. This tolerance for abuse made them favorites among custom operators who couldn't baby equipment. The belts are standard industrial sizes available at any bearing supply house, not proprietary Vermeer parts that cost 3 times as much. When the pickup teeth wear out, you can still get replacements at any farm store, or fabricate your own if you're handy with a welder. Finding a good 504F requires patience and timing. Estate auctions in Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota regularly feature these units, often with incredibly low bale counts, because Grandpa only did 200 bales a year for the beef cows. Check the main drive chain first if it's tight. Everything else is probably good. The monitor controller, if equipped, is the only electronic component, and most farmers bypassed it years ago for manual operation. At $4,500 average, you're buying into the same bloodline that created the entire round baler industry, plus parts availability that'll outlast us all. 3. New Holland BC5060 square. Baler, $4,800, $7,200 used. The New Holland BC5060, commanding $4,800 to $7,200 on the used market, represents the evolution of the company that invented the automatic pickup baler. Built in New Holland, Pennsylvania from the late 1990s through 2010s, these balers are the workhorses of small square hay production across America. New Holland's BC series refined everything learned since 1940, when the Model 73 first made one-man hay operations possible. The BC 5060's rotary feeding system uses paired rotating tines that overlap for continuous crop flow, the same principle Pennsylvania Dutch farmers perfected with their hand-feeding techniques, just mechanized. The plunger pounds out 93 strokes per minute, a rhythm that experienced operators can diagnose by sound alone. When that rhythm changes, you know something needs attention. These balers shine in their simplicity masked as sophistication. The knotters, descendants of the original Appleby design from grain binders, tie with 99.9% reliability when properly adjusted. Parts interchange with models going back decades, a philosophy that keeps farmers loyal to the brand. The pickup width of 66 inches handles everything from sparse drought-stressed fields to heavy first-cutting alfalfa. Pennsylvania hay dealers specifically seek BC 5060 bales because they know the consistent 14XX 18-inch dimensions stack perfectly in their storage barns built in the 1950s. Finding a good used BC 5060 requires knowing what to look for. Check the plunger knife adjustment first if it's sharp and properly set. The previous owner cared about details. The serial number tells the story units built after 2005 have improved needle bearings that last twice as long. Amish communities in Lancaster County maintain fleets of these balers, keeping them running without computers or electronic monitors, proving that good engineering transcends technology. At current prices, you're buying into the same lineage that has produced over 900,000 small square balers worldwide, with parts support that'll outlast any of us. 2. Massey Ferguson 124 square baler, $3,500, $6,500 used. The Massey Ferguson 124 selling at auctions from $3,500 to $6,500 for field-ready units represents the merger of British engineering and American farming needs that defined Massey Harris Ferguson's success story. Built through the 1970s and 1980s, the 124 became the thinking farmer's alternative to the green and yellow machines, offering sophisticated features at working-class prices. Massey Ferguson understood something crucial about American small farmers. They wanted reliability without complexity. The 124's design reflects this philosophy with its 54-inch pickup width that's perfect for the windrows left by a 9-foot haybine, standard equipment on most small farms. The plunger mechanism, running at a steady 80 strokes per minute, creates the dense, uniform bales that define quality hay in the Midwest. Wisconsin dairy farmers particularly loved these balers because the consistent bale size meant predictable feed rations, critical when every pound of milk production counted. What sets the 124 apart is its forgiving nature with moisture variations. While other balers would slug up with slightly damp hay or produce loose bales with over-dry straw, the 124's adjustable bale chamber kept working. The spring-loaded hay dogs and stuffer fork design came from decades of British hay making experience where unpredictable weather meant baling when you could, not when conditions were perfect. This flexibility made it the go-to baler for custom operators who couldn't choose their customers' field conditions. Estate sales from Minnesota to Missouri regularly feature these red workhorses, often with the telling phrase, "worked when parked." The 540 PTO requirement and mechanical nodders mean any farmer familiar with balers from the 1960s onward can operate and maintain a 124. The thrower attachment, when present, adds $1,000 to the value, but transforms one-man operations into genuinely efficient enterprises. At auction, watch the old-timers when they start bidding seriously on a 124, you know it's a good one. These balers represent the last era when equipment was built for farmers by farmers, before corporate consolidation turned machinery into lease payments instead of lifetime investments. 1. John Deere 14 T Economy Square baler, $600, $2,500 used. Coming in at number 1, the John Deere 14T proves that legendary performance doesn't require a massive investment. Available at farm auctions from $600 for project balers to $2,500 for field-ready units, the 14T represents the purest expression of American agricultural pragmatism. Build it simple, build it strong, price it right. Manufactured from the 1950s through the early 1970s, the 14T was Deere's answer to small farmers who needed reliable hay equipment but couldn't afford the bigger models. This baler embodies the same philosophy that made the Model A and B tractor successful during the Depression, give farmers exactly what they need. Nothing more, nothing less. The 14T's mechanical simplicity means a farmer with basic tools and mechanical aptitude can keep it running indefinitely. No hydraulics to leak, no monitors to fail, just gears, chains, and cast iron that refuses to quit. Recent auction results from Ohio show these balers still working after sitting in barns for decades, testament to over-engineering from an era when manufacturers expected equipment to outlast its owners. The plunger design, though slower than modern balers at 65 strokes per minute, produces consistently tight bales that horse owners particularly prize. The twine box holds just 2 balls, forcing operators to pay attention rather than mindlessly baling until something breaks. It's farming at a human pace, the way it was before we convinced ourselves that bigger and faster always meant better. The 14T's enduring appeal lies in its accessibility. At $750 average auction price, it costs less than a month's payment on a new baler. Parts remain available through salvage yards and aftermarket suppliers, with many components interchangeable with other Deere equipment from the era. Amish communities particularly value these balers, maintaining fleets that produce thousands of bales annually using horse-drawn forecarts for power. When you buy a 14T, you're not just getting a baler, you're joining a community of farmers who understand that sometimes the old ways still work best. It's the ultimate proof that in farming, as in life, the simplest solution is often the right one. From the dusty workshops where Gary Vermeer chalked out his first design to today's small farm revival, these budget balers prove that American agricultural innovation isn't just about the biggest and newest. It's about finding what works for real farmers with real budgets. Whether you're starting with a stationary unit or jumping straight to a mini round baler, remember that every big operation started with someone making that first bale. These machines under $7,500 aren't just tools. They're your ticket to independence, just like they've been for generations of American farmers. Ready to start rolling your own? Hit that subscribe button and let's keep American small farming alive together.